Hi everyone, it's Ryan. I hope you're having a good day. Please forgive my voice, I'm just getting over a bad cold. Something I wanted to talk to you about is something that I frequently see, which is when parents actually inhibit the services that their child is getting through their IEP or their 504 plan in school. And the reason why that happens is because a lot of parents, with the best of intentions, they act as their child's executive functioning. So what that could look like is they sit with them all night at home and do homework with them and advocate for them and, speak to the teachers for them and completely structure them, make sure they're getting work done, make sure they're handing things in and so on. So what happens is then when a parent acts as their child's executive functioning instead of letting them develop these skills, then schools have a false sense of a student's ability. So what tends to happen is they say, schools use this line a lot, they say, oh, well, his grades are fine, in social studies or this or whatever. So, we don't really need to put in more services because he's doing fine academically. Realistically, what I want you to know is that's not an excuse for not getting services, is because you're doing fine academically. But, in all fairness, schools are misled when parents do this for their child because they really don't have a sense of their ability because, again, the parent is acting as their frontal lobe, that front part of the brain that controls executive functioning. So what I want you to think about is if you are doing this and your child is not getting the services that they could get in school, or if the school doesn't have really a good sense of their abilities because of this, it's time to stop, probably. And what that will look like is you have a discussion with whomever, your child's case manager or the guidance counselor, and say to them, look, I really want to help my, my son develop his age-expected independence. That's a line I like to use because there is a level of independence that's expected for age. And we also want to help him, develop his executive functioning. So as a result, I cannot service his executive functioning anymore. So you're going to see a decline in his grades or his ability to hand things in, most likely, because that is what tends to happen when parents stop serving as their child's executive functioning. Grades start to go down, or things start to not get handed in, and so on. And one of the things I tell parents, and this is the most important thing I'm going to say here, do not worry about your child's grades. Worry about his or her ability to develop independence to the best of his ability, because grades don't mean much if you go to college and you can't stay there because you lack the executive functioning to be able to function independently. I see this happen, as some of you have heard me say, I see this happen every single year. Between about November and January, I start getting phone calls from parents of 18, 19-year-olds who went away to college, and typically they're home, sometime in November, or they finish the semester and have failed all their classes. Not because they're not capable, not because they're not trying, but because their parents served as their executive functioning for all these years, and now they lack the skills to do this independently. So, what I want you to think about also is that, your child's grades aren't going to matter much if they can't stay in school, and what really matters the most is the end result, their ability to function independently. Now, please keep in perspective that, and some of you have heard me say this before, that schools don't teach executive functioning. Schools do prompting, so clean out your notebook, let me make sure you have this and that, and that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but teaching independence is going to require a little more than schools just putting accommodations in place. All right. Last thing I want to just tell you real quick. I spoke with a parent this week whose child did not have any kind of services in school for exactly the reason I'm saying. It's because this, very well-meaning parent, acted as her son's executive functioning for many, many years, and probably without it, he would not be doing very well academically. So I said to her, he needs services in school, and you need to stop. And she said, well, I can't allow him to fail. And I said to her, I want you to think about that. It's either going to happen now, or it can happen when he's an adult, and outside of school and without all these supports. I said I would rather see him develop these skills now than when he's in his, 20s, because then you've lost this tremendous window of opportunity. So please think about that. You have a window of opportunity here to help your child develop independence, develop skills, okay? And you're going to need some help with that. And that's what I do. So that's some of the skills we cover in our weekly groups, held Mondays and Tuesdays in Bryn Mawr, and they're going to be held Thursdays in Linwood. And I also do that individually, around executive function work. So feel free to reach out with any questions. Phone number in Bryn Mawr is 484-278-1088, and Linwood is 609-798-1565, and email is ridethewavecounseling@gmail.com. All right, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.